Feeding your fish seems pretty simple, right? Throw a handful of food in there every once in a while and you're good. Well, there's a little bit more to it than that, and that's what this video is about. 10 things you should know about fish food.
When you go to the fish store to purchase food for your new cute and adorable friend, there's something that you need to know before you start perusing the aisles. And that is, what kind of fish are you buying food for? I know that sounds silly, but what I mean is, are your fish carnivores, herbivores, or omnivores? Is your fish a carnivore? That means that they're like humans and that they like meat and high protein. Herbivores are fish that eat plants. Pretty simple. And omnivores are both. They'll pretty much eat anything. But there are tons of fish out there that will literally eat anything that you put in the tank. That doesn't always mean that that's going to be good for them. So just be careful. Know what your fish needs before you even go to the store. It's going to make the shopping experience that much easier. Just Google it.
The most common type of food by far is going to be your dried food. This is where all of your ingredients are mixed together and they're made into either a pellet or a flake. It's pretty simple to understand why these are the most common, because fish generally take them and it's easy to control because you can throw a little in and watch your fish eat. Once your fish have had enough, you just stop. This is good because you're not left with a bunch of food laying around and uneaten. Freeze-dried foods are very different from flakes and pellets. It's not a bunch of ingredients mixed together like your pellet and flake. It's the whole worm or bug, and they take them and they freeze-dry them. Some of the most popular foods for fish that we'll talk about in the next segment are blackworms, krill, and brine shrimp. Having these food in freeze-dried form is good because the fish get all of the nutrients found in those bugs, but it's just like feeding them pellets or flakes. You can control it pretty easily.
Live foods are pretty self-explanatory. It's food that is still living. These are things like blackworms, brine shrimp, and yes, feeder fish. More on feeder fish later. There are tons of fish keepers out there that swear by live foods as they are a great resource for nutrients and pretty much everything that a fish needs. This is very true, and you're not really going to get an argument out of me, unless we're talking about feeder fish. But the only downside to live foods is that it's almost like another job. And let's face it, people are lazy. When I say it's like another job, I'm talking about the things that you need to do to either produce this food yourself, or if you gotta go to the store to buy it, and then when you get it home, you've got to do the things necessary to keep it alive and fresh. It's a lot of work.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Some people love that part of it and they consider it another level of the hobby, and it makes them feel good to do that. For those people, I say good for you. But I'm not one of those people.
Frozen foods are pretty self-explanatory. It's just like your freeze-dried food. They take the whole bug, worm, or shrimp, and they freeze it into little cubes. Where it's different from freeze-dried foods is that they have to add something to freeze the food into, which when you throw the cube into the water, it melts and it can cloud up the water in your aquarium. With frozen foods, you get the benefit of live food without the hassle of having to keep it alive. We use them all the time. But first, thaw it out. Don't be lazy.
Okay, let's do it. I'm gonna go a bit over the edge here, folks, so bear with me. If you're one of those people that feeds live feeder fish to your fish, you do it for one of two reasons. One, either you get a kick out of it, or two, You think it's natural and therefore you're doing the right thing. If you're someone that gets a kick out of watching your fish eat other fish, I get it. I used to like watching it too. And then I got interested in girls.
That's cute. I remember when I had my first beer.
For those that think it's natural, is it really? Are Oscars chasing comet goldfish or rosy reds around the Amazon? Nope. Okay, I'll concede they would be chasing smaller fish around that are in the Amazon, not comets. But you said it was natural, not me. By the way, your fish is in a glass box. Not much natural about that. Listen, folks, I understand that not everyone is going to agree with me on this. If you're someone that likes to feed live feeders to your fish, there's something I want you to think about. When you go to your local pet store to buy your precious feeder fish, I want you to look at the tank that they're in. Look how many dead ones are in there. Why do you think that is? It's because they've been raised in some of the most piss-poor conditions you can ever imagine. With all of those fish in one tank, and they've been that way ever since they were fry, there is no way to control disease or control whether or not every single fish is able to eat or not. Most of the fish that are in those tanks are going to end up starving. So they either starve to death or they're so frail from not eating that they won't really provide any nutritional value whatsoever to your fish. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox now. Just don't feed your fish feeder fish. Goldfish are cute.
Wait a minute, are you about to say Plecos are good to feed to your fish? No? The reason we put Plecos or Plecostomus on a video about fish food is because a lot of people make the mistake of not feeding their Plecos. They think them scavenging around the tank, eating algae is enough, but it's not. Plecostomus are catfish. They're like little water pigs. They scavenge around, they eat anything they can fit into their mouth, they even like meat, not just algae. There are tons of foods out there that are specifically designed for a Plecos diet. Yes, it's true, it can be difficult to get the food to them because the other fish, they might eat it before it even gets to them, but there's a lot of tricks you can use. Feed your Plecos.
Could you eat the same thing every day for every meal? As much as I would love to say that I could have a Big Mac for 3 meals a day every single day and I would be delighted, common sense would tell you that you're eventually going to get sick of that. Not to mention the effects that it's going to have on your health. With fish, it's no different. Fish like a variety of foods, and it's not only the different flavors and textures, but it's also the effects it'll have on their overall health and longevity. Every fish food is different. If you read the ingredients listed on the back of a fish food container, you'll see all different kinds of stuff. Every manufacturer does it different. No matter what kind of fish you keep, giving them a varied diet is going to help ensure that they get everything they need. It'll help them to thrive and live a long, long, happy life.
So seriously, are you a fish keeper or are you somebody that just keeps an aquarium as a decoration? If you just keep an aquarium as a decoration, you're probably one of those people that just throw food in there every once in a while. While this is better than not feeding them at all, this can actually be a recipe for disaster. Feeding your fish properly is critical to their health and also to the health of your water. If your tank is just a decoration, you're probably not obsessing over the water parameters. If you're not checking your water and maintaining it properly, you've probably got elevated nitrate levels. Throwing food in randomly and not paying attention to it can make this even worse. It's important that the fish eat the food that you put in their tank. If you're just randomly throwing food in there whenever you feel like it and as much as you want, then you might as well just be throwing fuel on the fire. If there's a bunch of uneaten food in the tank, it's going to work its way down to the bottom and eventually rot, causing all kinds of issues. Seriously though, don't be lazy. You can spare a minute to take care of your fish. Put a little bit of food in, watch your fish eat. If they eat it all in like 10 seconds, throw a little more in. Keep repeating that until they stop chasing it aggressively. Or just throw some in and make sure it's all eaten within the first minute. Facebook will be there when you get back. I promise.
Go ahead. Only a little bit.
Hello everyone, this is Jason from Prime Time Aquatics. One of the most important things when it comes to fish food, will your fish eat it? You see, you can have a great food, it's super expensive, it has all the awesome ingredients, just what you want, and you put it in the tank, but if your fish won't eat it, it hasn't done them any good. And in fact, it can actually cause problems. One, your fish are still hungry, and if they're naturally aggressive fish, that might increase their aggression, and two, now you've got fish food rotting in the tank that can contribute to water quality issues. My suggestion, if you're gonna try a new fish food because you think it's gonna be awesome, buy a smaller container, see if your fish will eat it, and if they do, you're in good shape. If not, stick with what's been working.
So there you go, 10 things you should know about fish food. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see 10 more things, we upload them every Sunday. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and we can't wait to see you next week for 10 more things.